Hey, hey, joyful new day. My name is Kawanis. I am an author, medicine woman, healer. Sorry, y'all, one moment. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to go live on Instagram at the same time. All right, my name is Kawanis Ellison. I'm an author, medicine woman, healer who shares practical tools to help you live and love more consciously. So, today, I am exploring functional softening, and I call it functional softening because we are in a day and age where no matter what you look like, man, woman, no matter what kind of body that you're in, many of us have experienced arduous healing journeys. And what I mean by an arduous healing journey is that you've been in the trenches, you've been doing your work, you've been releasing, renewing, healing the trauma, all of that. The past couple of years, I know I'm not the only one who noticed that trauma healing was a thing. Okay, cool. That in itself can be a very arduous and energetically heavy journey. So many people now may be at this phase or this stage where you're tired of working hard, feel it. You're tired of working hard, but the thing is, when you have when you have been on a healing journey that has required heavy lifting, I'll call it heavy lifting because there are aspects of the journey where you may need to create momentum in a new direction. So if you, I'll use myself as an example. My awakening journey, I'll say the big, like the little sparks of awakening. The sparks of awakening arrived to me maybe around 2012 when my daughter was born. I have a 14-year-old. So she was born in 2011. Around 2012 or when the sparks of awakening arrived. And I really think it was just motherhood. So I'm new to motherhood. Um, I didn't necessarily, I was like, I ain't never changed a baby. I ain't never held a baby. But also prior to that, I was deep prior to that and during that, still in process. I was deep in what I would call a sunken place. And so when my daughter was born, that was the beginning of me realizing, okay, perhaps, yes, tired of the heavy lifting. Okay, perhaps you should think about the way your actions, the life you are living, who you are right now. Maybe you should think about the way that these things are going to affect this little baby you got here. Those were thoughts, but they were fleeting thoughts. And so as the years progressed and I was resistant to being different, I'm gonna say that because hot girl was in the streets having the time and living her best life. I was resistant to being different, although at the time that she was born, I started to have different intuitive nudges. And one of the things that I heard that I received was your life will not align until you do right by that baby. And there's a part of me that was like, what do you mean? But what about the this? And what about the that? And what about this? And what about the things I want? And what about, just all of these different things? And I didn't know how to align, right? But I received that. I was like, all right, cool. And life then began to take me on a journey. So that was in 2012, the first spark. I got little sparks here and there the first couple of years of my journey. So maybe around 2016, I found the book The Alchemist. I had never read a spiritual book before. And so I was like, all right, Alchemist, cool. Once I read it, I felt this I felt this heat in my body. I felt this actual spark of life. And I was like, there must be something more. That was the first time that I had ever had a feeling that there must be something more to life other than the way that I was living. Aside from, the birth of my daughter, I was like, all right, spark number one. The Alchemist was spark number two. Yep, my first child cracked open my discontent and self-abandonment. Absolutely. Look, children are healers, man. Like if you're conscious enough, if you are conscious enough, then we really can allow our children to grow us up and to heal us in so many different ways. So The Alchemist came about in 2016. I met a guy maybe 2 years later. I didn't even know that The Alchemist was a spiritual book. So I didn't know what to search for. But I was like, all right, I'm feeling this. There's more to life. There's more to living. Cool. 2 years later, I met a guy who put me on to Dr. Wayne Dyer. Dr. Wayne Dyer's books are absolutely amazing, and I still refer to them to this day. There's a book called There is a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem. And when I read that, I was in the midst of trying to heal my hair. I switched to veganism. I'm trying to heal different things in my body. And I'm doing the health based things, which are also very new for me. So I'm doing the health based things. But as I am picking up little bits of things here and there, I'm like, all right, there has to be more to really healing. Like, there has to be more. So, a spiritual solution to every problem came into my life, and it really became like a manual by which I learned how to be present and learn how to start being present by which I learned how to start being present, and just did different ways of changing my mind. Okay, cool, that happens. And so years go by, and here and there I'm brought to little pieces of the journey, pieces of spirituality here and there, different things. I land in pole dancing. I meet different people. I go fully vegan. Pole dancing leads me to a spiritual coach of sorts who leads me to ayahuasca. For those who know me, I've told this story multiple times, but I will retell the whole story on another one because this is not about that. But just giving y'all pieces led me to ayahuasca, and ayahuasca is when the arduous part of my healing journey started. So that wasn't until 2021. So from 2016, when I first found The Alchemist, to 2021, it took me 5 years to even get to the point where I was ready to consider something like ayahuasca. Medicines, especially, everything finds us when we really need it and when we are really ready for it, when we're ready to say yes to it. Everything finds us when we're ready to say yes to it, but medicines in specifically, they find us when we really truly are ready to receive what they have to offer, because deciding to go on a plant medicinal journey is not a journey for everybody. And there are certain things that these medicines do in the way that they interact with your mind, your body, your spirit, and things of that nature. All right, so it took me to 2021 to be ready. And even in my readiness for ayahuasca, I was still in a deep sunken place. I could barely hear my intuition. I was drowning in guilt, in shame, in every negative emotion that you could imagine. Baby, that was me. I'm in it. And we swimming in them things. We swimming real good. But I was not aware of the depth of where I was internally. I thought that it was normal to be throwing tantrums all the time when things didn't go my way. I thought it was normal to have the sentiment that good things didn't happen to me. And I thought that it was normal for especially my relationships to take on this tone of where I never felt trustful inside of a relationship. I thought that that was normal. I thought it was normal to feel so attached to everyone that came through my experience, that there was this sense of utter and total chaos in my mind, and I thought that shit was normal. All right, so we go to Costa Rica, sit with shamans and ayahuasca, and that is where I realized, oh girl, you really fucked up. What you have been experiencing is actually not very normal. Well, I'll say it is normalized, but there is something else. And so ayahuasca took me through 2 years of teaching me what feelings were, what anxiety was, what guilt felt like in my body, what it felt like when I resisted. So, when healing was trying to happen and I resisted it, ayahuasca showed me how painful it actually is to resist when our consciousness is trying to rise, and this part of us that is holding on to different identity structures, that is afraid of the unknown. Ayahuasca showed me what happens when a person resists. And baby, let me tell y'all, if y'all ain't feeling it in everyday life, what it feels like to be resistant to truly yourself, because it's just you and you, and to be resistant to your calling, truly, like all of the resistances that we feel and face right now, the work that I do one-on-one with people is going into their subconscious system and finding the root causes of resistances, blocks, and things of that nature. Most people that come to me, they're seeking to feel at peace. They're seeking to feel more confident. They're seeking to feel financially stable and abundant. Um, they are seeking to feel more vital, like have more vitality. And it really isn't too many different things that people are experiencing. And often there's some sort of energetic not present, some type of unconscious resistance to whatever it is that that they are desiring to experience. More than likely there's some type of just unconscious energetic backup resistance, block, connection to some other identity that's keeping them from embodying this state of being, which now it turns into a systemic, it becomes systemic, the resistance. So whereas on a conscious level, when a person is experiencing resistance, stagnation, blocks, and things of that nature, consciously you are aware that this thing is happening to you, but you may not know what the actual underlying layer is. It might just feel like for some reason I'm not moving forward, and often people automatically assume that it is cognitive and that it is mental. In some cases it is, but in a whole lot of cases, I'm telling y'all, it might feed up into the mental and the cognitive levels, but often this is some type of systemic disorganization. When I say a systemic disorganization, what I mean by that is your if we take it into like the energy bodies, there might be some disorganization in the way your chakra is holding information and holding energy. And so in that case now, rather than the energy rather than the energy being free flowing, the chakra, which if we think about the way that for those who may be familiar or unfamiliar with chakras, you can think about a chakra as an energetic hub. And so in order for your system to feel vital, to feel in order for you to create anything, do anything, and even just to move forward, for you to pick up one damn foot and put the foot in front of the other, you have to have a sense of vitality in order to do that. So if there is disorganization, stagnation, blockage, I'm gonna say confusion, or even lack of internal direction in the way that the energy is organized inside of your energy bodies, inside of your energy field, then that causes a systemic disorganization. And then the systemic disorganization causes some level of internal resistance, blockage, stagnation to whatever it is that you're trying to do and wherever you're trying to go. And especially so it could be a disorganization, a dysfunction, a disharmony, a dis causes a dis. And the different disses do different things. I am hearing to speak more on disorganization today because for a lot of people, they, like I said, the assumption is that the blockages, the stagnations, and these things are mental. It is not always mental. If you have an emotional disorganization, so an example would be if we're thinking about like energy fields and energy bodies, you have an emotional auric field. That's another way for those who may know about a term of auric field. You have an auric field that connects to the way that your emotions flow through your system. Say that you are trying your best to ascend, evolve into your next era of life. You have done everything that you can possibly think of, and you are doing everything right. You are doing everything according to the way that the book that whoever the hell wrote the damn book said it's supposed to be. You are doing everything according to the book. But for some reason, you are not moving forward. For some reason, it is not working. Things are not working. 9.99999 times out of 10, there is some level of energetic disorganization. And if it's emotional, then it's going to seem like it's mental. Because when it's emotional, now this can be past emotional experiences that have not been able to complete their energetic cycle. This can be something as simple as a relational rupture. There was a past relational rupture, and that left a certain impression on you. It gave you certain thoughts. It gave you certain feelings and certain emotions about your reality and your life. And because that emotional energy either A was not resolved or B, you have not been able to resolve it in a way that allows the energy to come in. So the energy of the emotion, like say it comes in through the top, come in through your center, go in through the middle of you to be experienced fully, in full experience of the emotion. Then you are able to process. And then after processing, you are able to integrate the experience. You extract the wisdom from it. The energy says, thank you, I have completed my cycle, and you are free. When any of that is disrupted in the cycle, and when the emotions are allowed to stick for too long, this can cause some level of energetic disorganization within your field. And so once that's there for too long, it causes disorganization, and now it feeds into other aspects of the field, aka your mental. And so now you are perceiving some level of blockage, um, stagnation, not moving forward, inner resistance. And you're like, okay, what am I thinking about? What am I doing? What is happening? When it's because of a level of emotional disorganization. And I've seen this again, sometimes for some people it is mental, but I'm telling y'all, most times out of 10, it originates with some level of emotional disorganization, some type of experience that was not fully processed and digested by the system. And now the system is not operating um, what I want to say, the system is not operating the word that I'm going to say ideally, but there's another word that I want to say other than ideally, but it's not operating at its highest capacity. There we go. And so once there become systemic disorganizations, then this starts to affect other aspects of your energy field, aka your life, that may not have full integrity already any damn way. And so, what I mean by that is if you've got this emotional experience that was created from a relational rupture, it doesn't have to be a relational rupture, it can be anything. I'm just using that as an example. You were not able to fully allow yourself to feel the experience, digest it, process it, all of that good stuff. That did not fully happen. It causes a level of disorganization. And now, say you got something else from connected to your past or another area of life that may not quite be solid, stable, fully processed, things of that nature. These things can start to touch one another. Whereas the one triggers the manifestation of triggers the disorganization of the other. And so it is when I'm saying that as to say, we're talking about functional softening. I be getting on hella tangents. We're talking about functional softening. I'm saying that as to say that when the healing journey is arduous, once you get to a place where you've done like the heavy purging, releasing, um, for some people it's entity extractions if if you want to take it there, but when you've done the very heavy lifting where you've reconnected with your mind, you've connected with your child self, you've done the inner child work, you've done the reparenting, you sat with all the traumas, the next part is what I'm speaking on now with the energetic reorganization. Because after you have done all of that, the light lifting, and I have to tell my clients that this is the light work. It is beautiful. It is beautiful when you make it to the point where now what needs to happen is your energy field needs to be reorganized. Someone said, do I mind posting this? I don't know if I can because I'm streaming differently today. I'm streaming from somewhere else other than Instagram. So I'm not sure if I will be able to share this like I normally do, but I will do my best to see if I can. But it will definitely be posted on YouTube. Um, After the heavy lifting, now comes the softening. Why is it necessary to soften? One, when you have been efforting, trauma healing journeys require effort. Or again, it doesn't have to be such deep trauma, but the part of the healing journey where you need to get yourself above water to even have enough consciousness to be able to see your reality somewhat clearly, it requires efforting because there's a certain amount of momentum that needed to be created for you to get to the point where you feel solid enough within yourself to freaking start to relax. But the thing is, if you have spent years of efforting, I've got clients I work with that said that they were healing trauma for 8 years. Y'all, sometimes it take that long. It might be 2 years, it might be 1 year, it might be 10 years. Imagine that you have been someone who has been doing deep work for 8 to 10 years. Think about the direction now, although you are moving in a direction of higher consciousness and healing, we have to think about the way that your energy has become accustomed to operating. Efforting, the effort that it takes to heal that type of stuff, it requires a lot of masculine solar energy because you gotta keep going and you have to get yourself over a hump. Resting in between is absolutely necessary. But what a lot of people do not do is rest during those type of journeys because one, there's a rush to get there, two, there's a rush to become something, and three, there's a rush to become something. There is a desire to be something and somewhere other than what you are. And so people, this is a direct mirror into the way that people interact with their regular every fucking day lives. They do the same thing to their healing journey. And so this is one of the reasons why it's really important to start to learn to feel safe before you go into these deep, arduous journeys. And whatever the journey looks like, it's fine. You will find your way back. But I tell y'all what I done so that you ain't got to do it the same way that I did it, which is somewhat backward and going gung ho into it. You know, a lot of us y'all already did it, so y'all know what I'm talking about. You go gung ho into it and then you burn out, and now you're on the other side of the journey and you have zero energy. It feels like you don't have the energy to create again, to fully show up in the life. Everything is tiring and everything is exhausting. And if it is not that way every single day, then there is a certain level of vitality that needs to be restored from those journeys. Okay. So this is where functional softening comes in. I was someone who used to think I had to strive for everything. I didn't even know that I thought that. I didn't even know. I didn't know that I was a striver. I was so accustomed to doing things myself, getting things done, making things happen. This is the identity that I identified with. I was like, if it's one thing your girl gonna do, I'm a Virgo, Sun, Mercury, and Mars. I was like, if I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna make it happen. And so I got to the part of my journey where I was well past the heavy lifting aspect of it. I had done that. And now I desired to receive. I was like, okay, I have worked very hard. I even even took me months to get my energy out of a place of working hard because I had created so much momentum around being solar and being active and doing and forcing and pushing. So I had to come in front of that energy and be like, all right, hey, look, I'm actually really tired and exhausted, but we still have to live our lives. You can't just stop everything because you are exhausted, because you've got a child to take care of, you got real ass big girl bills, mortgage, all of that good stuff, and you have a business that needs your presence in order to sustain it. So I'm giving y'all like the condensed version because when I tell y'all I was in this shit kicking and screaming, I was kicking and screaming my way through it. It was not a smooth transition from being so active energetically to learning to relax so that I could receive. And so what I found was when I got to the point where the heavy lifting was done, first I was like, there's no way that all I need to do is to focus on my energy. There's no way that it's all I need to do. I was so used to it being hard. I was like, boy, ain't no way, boy, you telling me that what I need to do is just change my frequency. And even hearing those words, I was like, all right, I've heard people say that before, but what does that mean? I went through a trialing of erroring of what happens if I stop thinking that I need to put forth so much effort in this area. So much effort in the area was in, when I say so much effort in this area, What I mean is effort into, let me do this with my hands so it will happen. Let me create XYZ so this will happen. And I'm talking about like stability and things of that nature. Or even in regards to people in my life, let me insert my energy into this so my desired outcome will happen. What I had to do was learn how to align with my desired outcome. Aligning with my desired outcome was on one level. We've heard this so often in like manifestation culture. I am a total manifesting person, but manifestation culture and things of that nature, people say align with your desired outcome, but we take that only into the mind. We take it only into the mind to start to think about the desired outcome. And now that is one level of doing it, of course, but the mind is not the only thing that the frequency needs to be elevated within in order for us to align and to fully be able to magnetize what we desire. It is as I was talking about earlier with, this is a matter of your the actual energy that you are emitting from multiple aspects of your energy field. So yes, see it in your mind, think positive thoughts, see it as clearly as you can, the desired outcome. But if life is bringing you on a total and complete healing journey, because this is not everybody's journey, so this is not advice for everybody. This ain't even advice. I'm just sharing what I've done. When life is bringing you on a total and complete healing journey, and when you are someone who is designed to live from alignment, alignment means balance. Alignment means energetic balance. Energetic balance means if you have been accustomed to getting through life with from a solar energetic expression, which is doing, achieving, doing, to bring you into balance. Life now has to bring you to the other end of the spectrum where you now need to activate or cultivate more lunar energy, which is receiving, resting, restoring. And when you are someone who is supposed to live an aligned and balanced life, you can try your hardest to continue to be a doer. You can do everything that the way that you used to do it and the way that it used to work. But when life, or AKA even your subconscious system, decides to say, like, hey, I actually desire energetic harmony within myself. And I would love to be someone who's able to receive and not have to do everything myself. Then now what it's going to take you on is the next level of the healing journey, which is learning how to slow down, relax, soften. What do I mean by the softening aspect? So, softening isn't necessarily sitting around doing nothing. It doesn't even mean um softening doesn't even mean becoming, what do I want to say, ultra feminine. It doesn't even mean becoming ultra feminine. It is an incorporation of more lunar energy, but softening in this case is assessing the ways that parts of you are protecting against the new reality, because it's always going to be that. Assessing the ways in which the parts of you are protecting an old identity structure, an old way of being, are afraid of experiencing new things. We call this novelty avoidance, are afraid of the new, are afraid of the unknown, are afraid to heal, are afraid to love. These are the things. Yes, this is live. I'm live from two places, so I'm not sure how it's coming across on Instagram. These are the things. What keeps a person's system, when I say the system, we're talking about functional softening, we're talking about your energy bodies, um, your energetic pathways, the chakras. We're also talking about the nervous system. We're talking about the muscular system, the organ system. All of these things are doing whatever you are doing. They're doing whatever you are doing. So if you are someone who is very armored, protected, contracted, when we feel the need to protect something, then our energy becomes hardened and contracted. The contraction can look like holding the gut, and you don't even realize that you're holding your gut. I can't tell y'all how many people's systems I have assessed, and they're wondering why they are not, like, they're trying to get to the desired outcome. And it comes out that there is so much contraction, like fear contracted in the gut, that now it causes their organs to, the organs become, what is the word? Inflexible. The organs become inflexible. So to make that make sense for y'all, I want you to take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. Take another breath in and take another breath out. When you take deep breaths, you feel the way that your body expands and contracts. Your organs have to be able to move with your breath. As you moving your body around, your organs aren't staying in one place. You moving, and they need to be able to move with you, right? But when the system, when you are so protected against, again, fearing the unknown, fearing healing, feeling love, um, blah, blah, blah. Resistant to love, resistant to the unknown, resistant to healing. There's another one, but I can't think about what it is right now. But anywho, when those things are happening, then the body and the system feel that they need to protect you from it. And so not only does it manifest itself as muscular tightness and things of that nature, like I said, the organs need to be mobile. And so now the organs will contract. And so now you wondering why your stomach feels like that. And you're wondering why you feel disconnected from yourself, because now your heart is contracted because the heart has become so armored. And you're wondering why it's difficult for you to connect with others and feel safe inside of relationships. A lot of times people don't even realize that they have disconnected from from the feeling of safety because the body is so armored. So now you don't know what the hell is safe, and you don't know what to go, you know, what direction to go in. So functional softening in this case is becoming aware, becoming aware of the ways that you armor yourself again against healing, love. Change was the other one. Change is change. I ain't gonna say it's number one, but it ain't number two. So the way that you armor yourself against change, healing, love, the unknown. And it's going to it's going to manifest itself in different ways for everyone. But aside from like the body, the system, the energetic organization, and those and layers and things of that sort, the I'll say the obvious manifestation of it is when we look at our lives and your life feels disorganized, contracted, stagnant. When we are protecting ourselves from the possibility, again, of change, love, healing, the unknown, when we protect ourselves from these things, you can imagine that if you breathing freely is what it would be, if you breathing freely is synonymous with your flow of life. The moment the possibility of the unknown comes in and you resist it, so you start to push. You can imagine you say, you hold your breath. And when you hold your breath, you hold up the outcome, you cause a delay. I had to let that breath out. You cause delays, you cause stagnation and things of that nature. All right. So we understand that. Yes, it will be on YouTube, absolutely. So we understand that from a what we can do to access the resistances and things of that nature. Um, I do not feel like I wanted my sentence to come out in that way. Okay, so we have that much, right? Again, this is functional softening, becoming more magnetic, and we're talking about what happens with our energetic systems when we are experiencing resistance, contractions, contraction of the bodily systems, but overall contractions of your energy and then contraction of your life. Your life becomes contracted. Now, someone may ask, how do I even know what I am resisting? And how do I access these different things? So, as it pertains to what we can do to start to connect with what is happening with our subconscious system, one, of course, we're going to look at the most obvious manifestation of the resistances, contractions, and disorganizations. And that is going to be your physical reality and the things that you do not agree with that are happening in your reality. Everyone is living their own life. You know how you feel in your life. So I will say, nobody else can tell you how you feel in your life. You know how you feel. You know what and what is not happening for you, and you know what you desire. So I'll say look at the difference between the desired outcomes for your life and the present circumstances. For a lot of people, I'm going to say the gap between the desired outcomes for your life and the present circumstances are more than likely resistant of it. If this is not, well, shit, even if it is relational related, because sometimes people aren't even necessarily resistant to love when it comes to relationships. People are just resistant to their life changing and resistant to the unknown. So, hell, I was going to say it could be one more than the other, but truly, again, the gap between you, what you want right now, and where you are, more than likely, it is you are resistant to change, you are resistant to love, you are resistant to the unknown, or you are resistant to healing. The resistant to healing part, this is where, yeah, I am not following where I want to go, but I'm gonna let spirit take us there. We will arrive. The resistant to healing part. This does not mean that you consciously do not want to heal. Most people who are even, I'll say, watching this, for instance, or on this journey at all, you have a conscious desire to be different. You have a conscious desire to heal and change and grow. But there may be, we keep going back to identity structures, there may be certain identities. And what I mean by that is you have become so identified with someone who, I'm going to use scarcity as an example. You have become so identified with someone who never feels like they have enough. And that is a real feeling. The felt sensation that there would never be enough. You have become so identified with that the way that it works is when that becomes your identity, then that becomes your reality. And for better or worse, because these things are, they do not always create realities that feel horrible. There may be certain aspects of the reality that a person does not enjoy. But when your energy becomes organized around an identity structure, so when your energy becomes organized around being someone who never feels as if there is enough, then you attract people into your life who feel that there is never enough. And these people become your friends, and these people become your community, and you attract certain support systems, I will say, that support your ideas, that what I want to say, that confirm the reality in ways that you may not be aware of, but they confirm the reality that there is not enough. And it keeps you at like a certain frequency of existence. Yes, the law of attraction. But now what happens is you desire to elevate in this aspect of your life that seems like it has nothing to do with the life that you had created for yourself. You like spirit. I want to be in an abundant life. I want these other things. But the identity structure of there is never enough is like, um, Do you not recognize how much I am keeping these friends in your life and keeping your life feeling stable as the way that it has been? Do you not recognize that it's me? That I'm the one that's uncreated this life that you're living? And so now, because there is a part of you that probably enjoys the life that you're living, you start to bump heads with yourself. Your energy starts to bump heads, and the part of your energy body that is supportive in elevating your consciousness, expanding your reality, and getting you to the place that you want to be, it hits the resistance of the fears of change and the fears of healing, because subconsciously there may be a narrative that says, if I heal and if I change, I will lose this, and this. If I heal and I change, I have no idea what's going to happen to these areas of my life. And so I am afraid of the unknown. And so now the this is where the energies inside you start to compete, and you feel different levels of resistance. And now typically what will happen with this is, if you have enough desire, even if it's subconscious desire, to truly ascend and change into the other outcome, then life is so amazingly benevolent. Life is so amazingly benevolent and gracious that it will give your ass exactly what you're asking for, but you're going to get it through conflict and tension. Because the conflict and tension is indicative of the inner resistance. And what the conflict and tension are doing is try to work that shit out of your system. But it does not feel amazing when it's happening. I'm laughing because y'all have it. Well, I tell y'all, I have experienced this so many times. And I just now, when things stop being in flow, I'm like, all right, man, what am I doing? What am I afraid of? And I'll say, for me, it typically goes back to one thing. I'm speaking directly to you. I might be speaking to you, boo. And it's going to demand you show up and do more, or it's going to demand you show up and do less, baby. This is what I'm saying with functional softening. Life may demand that you show up and do less, because if, again, we're going back to, if you are someone who has decided that you desire to live in harmony and alignment, if you have decided to live within harmony and alignment with yourself, then if you have already mastered being a doer, being a fixer, getting it done, making it happen, if you have already mastered making it happen, then life has to balance you out. And so the balancing aspect is, you've learned how to make it happen. Now let me teach you how to surrender. Let me teach you how to relax. How to relax, because only through relaxing can you even receive. I'm gonna give another example that I know that y'all are going to be able to identify with. Imagine that you having sex with your boo, you in coitus with your person, but you all clenched up. This I'm talking about from a woman's perspective. You in coitus with your boo, but you all clenched up. How you gonna receive? How will you receive what is being given if you don't relax? And so this is synonymous. It is 100% synonymous. It's even as if, imagine life is trying to put money straight in your hands, straight in your hands. But you are so contracted. You are so contracted and protected from what you don't know, and from the possibility of a better reality, that your hands are like this. Life can't even put the damn money in your hands. Life trying to throw that shit at you, put it straight in your hands. But fear, but fear. And so, saying this as to say, okay, I'm gonna go back to my other point that I was making 15 minutes ago. So saying this as to say, there are three levels in which the total softening has to happen. As you soften, you will see things start to pick up. It's also about that. Before I even say these levels, I'm going to say I speak from a place of balance. So this does not mean throw your masculine solar energy out of the window. You will be homeless. You will be homeless and on the streets if you decide to do nothing ever. Okay? We live in a society that requires resources in order to be comfortable. There are two things energetically we need to do for resources to flow within our system. One, move our ass. Two, relax and receive. And it's a dance of the both. There's a time to move your ass, and there is a time to relax and receive. But when you only know how to move your ass and you don't know how to relax and receive, then life has to take you through a journey of learning how to relax and receive. All right. And so, three different levels. Cognitive. This is the level that most of us are very aware of. On a cognitive level, I'm pretty sure as I'm talking, y'all are like, yeah, sis, we get you. I understand. I understand the importance of relaxing and receiving, of unclenching my damn gut. Unclench your ass, please. Like, unclench. So I'm pretty sure that, we get it cognitive and we understand the concept now of softening. That is not enough. This is where many people stop. The second level is it needs to come into your body. This is called interoception. This is the interoceptive layer. Interoception is the ability to feel yourself, the ability to feel the sensations of being you. And so once you understand cognitively the importance of relaxing so that what you need can actually come to you, now you have to get your body to do it. This is the hard part. I call it hard. It's only hard because you're accustomed to doing. That's the only reason it's hard. It's only hard because the body has been in cycles of being braced and ready for war and tense and afraid that the damn boogeyman within you is going to hop out and be like, peekaboo, bitch. That the boogeyman within you is going to come out and surprise you with something else that now you need to be ready for. Again, like I said, once you have done the heavy lifting, you don't need to be afraid because you should know yourself enough by now to have enough conscious contact with the boogeyman within you to know that it ain't even no damn boogeyman there. It's only you. It's only you. And once you have done the heavy lifting, you should have enough of a relationship now with your own shadow aspects to not be afraid of your shadow. And so when the shadow comes out, you like, hey girl, what's on the menu for today? This is the relationship that you can have with your shadow. This is the relationship you should have with your shadow because there's nothing to be afraid of, right? And so it is things like that. What we're talking about from a healing context, being afraid of yourself, essentially, being afraid of what is within you. And then on another side of that, from a physical life standpoint, some people have lived very hard lives. You know, some people have lived lives where they've had to protect and strive and do and be on guard. And some people are still in contact with the people or environments that triggered the need for vigilance. So, wherever you are within this, once you understand this cognitively, then you need to do what you need to do to get your body to relax. And so, if you have to change your environment, then you need to change your environment. If you got to change the people that you are around because these people are triggering and making you tense up, one thing that I said, so I shared in the beginning of the live that I have a 14-year-old daughter. And there was one week where my daughter, we were at the end of eighth grade. She went to ninth grade this year. We were at the end of eighth grade year, and she decided to just go bombs over Baghdad and start doing crazy shit. She just decided to start going crazy. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it had my body so tense. My body was so tense that I threw my nervous system into bouts of inflammation, legs inflaming, stomach inflaming. And I was like, once I experienced that and I saw the way that, one, I was not prepared for her behavior, but the way that her behavior caused my system to go on guard, I sat her down and I was like, listen to me. Whatever you doing, we not doing that. And I'm not about to try and control you, but I'm gonna tell you that now, because of the way that that made me feel, we have changes that we have to make in our household. Because I'd be damned if I let you get me like that. And that's what it's about. This is this is self-preservation, self-care. So, I was able to still do my mom thing and all of that good stuff. But I'm saying this as to say, if it is people and environments that are keeping your body and your system in a tense state, then you need to do what you need to do, AKA set the motherfucking proper boundaries. Set the proper boundaries so that you can create a space, a life, an experience in which your body feels safe enough to relax within. That is what it's all about. Once your body starts to relax, two things. So, one, it is a physical cueing of relaxing. Sometimes, you might have to smoke a little something in order to help yourself out within this work. Smoke you something clean. Mother marijuana is medicinal. So, you get you some medicinal, you do what you need to do, get you some CBD, whatever you need to do. I also utilize magnesium glycinate at night before bed because it helps to relax the body and gets the nervous system to calm down. So once you get into that layer, the interoceptive layer, the physical body, yes, and you will start to notice the way that different areas of your body are tense. Especially if you are someone who's been through like a lot of emotional pain, betrayal, things of that nature, then even the heart, even the heart area and the chest cavity will be tense. And so this is where you feel the tension. You got to incorporate your movement, y'all. These are when I say simple, the simplest of practices, the simplest of practices. Freaking, when I say getting into like the interoceptive body based level of things, when I say breath work is so freaking effective, because breath work will actually push. Use the word push. I don't really want to say push, but I mean it's pushing because you're breathing, but it will push the blockages out of your energetic pathways. The thing about breath is when it pushes that thing up out, you're gonna feel it, hear it, experience it, something. And if you are not accustomed to feeling what your true feelings feel like in your body, then it throws your system back into a protective posture. And now you go back into clenching. So this is a dance. So this is a dance of recognition of when of the need for balance. I'm going to say this: recognition and awareness of the need for balance on a cognitive level, and then cognitively being able to see the areas of life in which you are not balanced and how imbalances in your energy. When I say imbalances in your energy, this is when you have an overactive solar energy and you need to bring in some more lunar. Another way that you can see this is if your mind does not quiet down at night, overactive solar. If you try to sit still, meditate, things of that nature, hell, you ain't even got to be trying to meditate. If you trying to sit still and the voices in your mind are like, we need to do this, we need to do that. If you have a need to do, if your mind is a need to do type of mind, then you have a more than likely overactive ass solar energy. If you cannot sit still and you got to be doing something, overactive solar. So these are the indicators. So you're trying to come back into balance. Now you see yourself acting like a damn jackrabbit, walking around Acting like you got to be doing something every moment of the day. These are the ways that you rate. This is a cognitive recognition. Okay, cool. You got it. You start to notice, you see yourself doing it. Now, when you get into the body, and again, you got to give your body permission to even feel it. Some of y'all ain't felt shit in 10 years. You got to give your body permission to feel it first. You get into your body, you're feeling the things. And now, the deeper level of body based awareness is noticing what happens in your body before you even have the thought that says, I gotta go and do, because it's a chain reaction. And the more aware you become of the body, like I said, this is through the breath, this is through movement and things of that nature. The more aware you become of the body, the more you're able to see that gap between the sensation of shit, I was relaxing, and now this protection that tells me if I relax for too long, I'm going to be poor and I won't survive. If I relax too long, something will go wrong. That is a protective, that is not most people's truth. It's a protection. But if you sit long enough, once you get into the body, you can feel what it feels like before you even do an action. This is how you know, great. I've gotten down to the interoceptive level of what it feels like for this protection to be present. And the way that you work that out is feeling where it is in your body. This goes to practices that many people are already doing. Where did you feel that in your body? Was it in your heart? Was it in your gut? Was it in your shoulder? Where did I feel it? You feel it. You send breath into that part of the body. What I mean by send breath into that part of your body, close your eyes. Imagine that there is an orb of light, or that your attention is just at that part of the body. You take a deep breath in there. So imagine that you are inhaling and air is going in. And then you let it out of that same place. So imagine you are exhaling and air is now coming out, and you relax. And you do that a couple of times. You may not feel much at first if you are not accustomed to feeling what it feels like to actually be in your body. But over time, you will, and you'll start to see the difference in your perception. Um, you'll start to see just the difference in what you are aware of. And I'll say one of the most easeful but difficult practices, a free ass practice for those who are um, balancing their solar energy and need to call in more lunar, is for you to have a freaking bedtime. A bedtime. I cannot tell y'all how many of my clients where their system was like sleep deprivation. They're like, why aren't the resources coming in? I'm trying to make money. I don't feel stable. I don't feel connected to myself and my reality. Why are my relationships like this? Why don't I have energy? Go to sleep. Go to sleep. And not just you can't sleep with the TV on. You can't sleep with the TV on. You can't sleep with your phone by your face. You need the quality kind of sleep that is going to allow your system to process your backlog. What I mean by this is that most protections are in place. One, because of an identity connection to it, but two, because of the emotions, the energies, the past imprints that are feeding this identity that's keeping the protection in place. And so you've got you've got feelings about what your mama said, feelings about what the friends did, feelings about what did happen and what didn't happen, and all of and thoughts about that. And now you've got beliefs about it, and you've got all of that, and it then organizes itself around the freaking identity that is keeping you exactly where you are. Because these things have not had the time and space to just freely process and release from your system, because you don't go to sleep and because you never have time where you are not doing something. It is in this again, this is the importance of cultivating lunar energy. It is in the lunar phases that our system is able to go back and look in the archives and be like, all right, so we here for our girl or we here for our guy. We here for him. You heard the other day they was thinking about this thing that they want to accomplish. Yeah, all right. They trying to do it. They serious. You know, they real gung ho about it. Let's look at what's in the archives that needs to be removed so that they can align with this reality. Because what we trying to do whatever they trying to do. The system is like, yeah, yeah, I'm for you, rah rah. We trying to do what you trying to do. And so the system is going to go and look at what it is that needs to be processed so that the energy that supports your elevation can have a free flowing channel. It's like, all right, 3-year old imprint from 3 years old, 10 years old, last week, the shit that motherfucker said. All right, all of this, boom, great. Let's pull it down, let's process it and get it out the way so they can move forward. This is what the system does. This is why certain things pop up for you at certain times to be healed because of your intentions for your life. Now, again, some people, if you got a whole lot of backlog, that shit just might be busting out the seams whenever. And this is why you gotta do your work. But when you become more aligned, then this is where, like I said, it's not so much doing. It's not so much doing with the healing, it's allowing. Even like the healing with the organization, healing organization, all of that, it's allowing. You have an intention, you said what you want, your system is like, great, I want you to have what you want. I'm gonna pull these things out of your backlog. But then it's like, okay, we're trying to pull it forward to be processed, but there's other things that keep coming in front of this. Other things that keep coming in front of this are whatever you're ingesting on your day to day. It's like, oh, okay, she or he, they're saying that they want this transformation, but for some reason they're prioritizing, distracting themselves with these other activities. For some reason, they are prioritizing these other things. And so the backlog gets stagnated. It's like, damn, when they gonna go to sleep so we can process this? When will they shut down these other activities so we can process this old stuff? This is what the system is trying to do. And so this is the importance of quality sleep, of quality sleep and of cultivating lunar cycles, lunar energy. Like I said, this is about balance. It's about balance. So you don't necessarily, it's not to say that you just throw your energy of doing out of the window. You need it. You need it. But now you have to learn. This is like next level self care. Now you have to learn how to be more deeply connected with your own energetic cycles. So, where you recognize, all right, this is a time for doing, and this is a time for rest. And the only way that you'll even know how to do that is if you take enough time for rest. It's going to look, if you are not very lunar, it's going to look very lunar heavy at first, again, because the energy is trying to balance itself. So it's gonna look lunar heavy, it's gonna feel lunar heavy, and you're also gonna feel crazy out of your motherfucking mind because the solar energy that is so accustomed to being activated is gonna be like, why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you doing something? Lazy, lazy, lazy. It's gonna fail. Life's gonna fall apart if I don't keep doing. What are you doing? So it's you're getting to know a new part of yourself. And I also, in my journey, I looked at it as, oh, I have to reparent my doing energy. I have to reteach my doing energy how to interact with this part of my life and this version of myself. And also, I have to teach my lunar energy. I have to welcome the lunar energy into my life. So it's like you got one kid at home that then got so damn unruly now it's causing outcomes you don't want. And now you bring in a new child into the house, and it's like, all right, I got to reparent the old child and set new boundaries and teach the old child how to interact now with this new reality. But then I also have to now, I'm bringing in this new baby into the house and I'm learning the new baby and I'm learning my relationship with the new baby. And my job as the parent and the damn orchestrator of all this shit is to learn how to get these things to work together in a way that I can best take care of myself. So, quality sleep, your subconscious will work a lot of the stuff out as you are sleeping. Lights off, TVs off, phones off. Give yourself time to wind down. Something that I did was put a night light in my bathroom, and I shower now with the lights off. So this, and also I have I don't use the overhead light in my bedroom after a certain time. I use like a warm, cool, warm, a warm lamp. And these are the cues to my system that we are winding down. I start to feed myself less light. This is a daily routine now. And if lights come on, I'd be like, "Ah!" Just like, "Ooh, it's too much light. No more information. No more information." Um, y- y'all, this is practical stuff, but this is literally reparenting. You literally have to treat yourself like you're a child and the summertime is over. And now it's time to start getting ready to go back to school again. It's like, all right, bedtime, devices shut off at this time, but this becomes your everyday. But y'all, the things that process at night and something like when you get into the groove, something that you can also do is set the intention before bed. Set the intention before bed for whatever it is that needs to be processed as you are sleeping, through your dream space, through the body, and things of that nature. Now, I will say that it is not always a pleasant experience. Last night, last night, I set the intention for certain blockages to be removed through my menses. And so, women, your menstrual cycle, let me tell you something. When I say you can tell your body, tell your body, I say, tell your damn body, shit, to release certain emotional imprints, energetic blockages, things through your menses. Depending on the weight of it, it might not always be comfortable. But let me tell y'all, it works. It works. So, um, last night was one of them nights. I like, all right, we menstruating, perfect time. Hey, I need you to release, boom, 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 through the menses. When I say my ass was tossing and turning, but I already knew what was happening. Like I was half sleep. No, I was 90% sleep. The other 10% of me was just aware of my system moving things through. So yes, you can absolutely set the intention. I definitely do these things to wind down. I feel more balanced overall. Yes. Yes. And so it's simple things like that to get our energy in balance. And so what it does over time is help help to soften some of the protective layers and really get your body on a rhythm, because even receiving happens in rhythm. Even receiving happens in flow. We can think about this like the cycles of nature. Receiving is the harvest. Receiving should be the easiest. Well, receiving should be the easiest part, I'll say. Receiving should be the easiest part, but yeah. Receiving is the easiest part. But when I stop myself because I'm thinking about the implications of an actual harvest. And once you've planted the seeds, so let's say that you utilized your solar energy to till the soil, to plant the seeds, to prepare the land, and all that good stuff. And then you've done your solar thing. You might have to do some watering and a little bit of caretaking, but you don't have to work as hard as you did to till the soil and take care of the land. And so you allow nature to even rain on that thing. You go into a little bit more restful energy and you're activating your solar energy here and there just to check on what you're planting and make sure that you don't need to do little things and here and there to take care of what is already taken care of itself. This is the thing. This is the thing. When you have set the intention and you have done the work and you have planted the seeds, it will take care of itself. You don't go back and keep on looking and seeing if it's done and if it's ready. You let nature do its work. Nature doing its work is it takes care of itself when you take care of yourself. Right? Okay, boom. So nature has done its work. The things are growing. Boom, here you go. Harvest. It's time to harvest. You got all of this fruit, all of this fruit, all of this abundance, these vegetables, all of this stuff is grown. You have received. You have received. And then the actual harvest part of it is the collection of it. This is the collection part. This is where I stop myself, because the receiving part, it doesn't take much to just receive it. But the collection of the harvest now requires some level of work, because this requires care. This requires you to take care of what it is that has grown and what it is that's in front of you now. And that's where you see the ebb and flow, because taking care can require some masculine energy, some solar energy, some lunar energy. It depends on what you got going on. But it is creating the capacity within self to allow both of these energies to flow through you, to embody both, to bring both into your life. And when you bring both into your life, you notice that areas where you were once hardened, you no longer need to be hardened there. Because when you allow both energies in your life, you become more flexible. You become softer, you become more flexible. And so when you need to put up a, oh, nah, bitch, ain't nothing coming through here. When you need to do that, then you have the ability to do that, because you've cultivated the ability to do it. And you can hold space for that in your body without it throwing you off, because this is an energy now that life is calling for you to embody. And then when that is not necessary, you can relax without you feeling off, because you have created the capacity within yourself to ebb and flow between multiple feeling states and to feel multiple things in your body and your system. Yeah, what mirror lessons did I just walk into? Yeah. So I feel like I didn't even talk about my notes today. I am complete. I did not talk about my notes today, but this feels complete. I will be live every Monday and Wednesday. Some weeks I will be live with my friend Johnny Moses. We'll be talking about some different things. He's also a conscious person. I have a book, What Was Planted Here Before I Arrived, A Journey of Reimagining Your Patterns. I also have a 12-week cohort coming up that starts on September 5th, Pattern Recognition and Integration. It is an initiation into self-mastery. This will be the last time that this cohort is ran live. It's going to turn into a self-paced virtual, 100% virtual self-paced situation. But this will be the last time that I run it live. And let me tell y'all, I teach the way that I teach and talk about the things the way that I talk about now, because one, this is a phase of life that I am in. And two, I just truly have removed myself from heavy lifting in almost every area of my life, because I recognize, like, for myself and similar to many of us, we have already done the hard work, especially if you are at this phase in the journey. And if you haven't done the hard work, if you don't feel that you have worked enough, you're here, but you don't feel that you have worked enough because a voice in your mind says that things will never be enough, and you have not done enough, then you need to trust that your ancestors have done enough. If you don't trust that you've done enough, trust that your ancestors have done enough, and that your ancestors have set up the play for you. And so now what you do is take the ball and motherfucking score the goal. And scoring the goal is relaxing. Scoring the goal is relaxing, receiving, and doing what's necessary to balance your energy. So the 12-week cohort, it is not deep shadow work. You're going to experience whatever you experience with yourself on the sidelines, but we are working on the energy. It is we have theoretical teachings where you learn about the construction, the architecture of patterns, how they work, why it's running through you, where you learn about how karma works. And then also we do the energy work behind it in class. And then you go and integrate. We have some weeks where, for this cohort in particular, I'll be having to be like, look, y'all, I know that this is church and we want to talk, but we got to learn as well. So there is plenty of time for integration. It's a beautiful community experience. Link in my bio, in my Instagram bio for that, or my website is Kiwanis.com. And then lastly, I have a retreat coming up the Healers Asylum, the Connection Experience. I could be saying the wrong thing it's called, but anywho, it is a 4-day, 3-night retreat in Arizona centered around connection, rebuilding connection, intimacy, and trust. It can be within yourself, it can be with others in whatever way. January 7th through the 10th, we got 4 spaces remaining for that retreat. The links is on my website. For those of y'all on YouTube, I'm gonna drop them in the I'm gonna drop it in the description, Kiwanis.com, or for y'all that are on Instagram, why I chose 12. I'm not sure 12 of what. I'm not sure 12 of what. But yes, the links are where the links are. And again, Mondays and Wednesdays, I will see y'all on Monday. Peace.